Friends, on behalf of My Retired Life Foundation and other associate institutions, we extend a very hearty welcome to this exciting talk on a very relevant topic today. You know that the mental awareness is one of the most important aspects of a human life. We always talk about the physical aspect, the physical exercises, and so on and so forth. But everything resides in the mind. And therefore, the research has shown that if you can kind, fit, agile, and young, possibly many of the physical ailments as well, there will not be chances for them to exist. That's the background under which the mental health, the research on mental health, the talks on mental health, and the debate on the mental health have assumed a great importance in the last 2, 3 decades. So we thought that let's keep a talk on this particular topic, which is very, very interesting for all of us, particularly the elders. And to talk on this particular topic, we have an exciting speaker with us, Dr. Swapnalekha Basak. She's an engineer and then a PhD, and then became an HR leader and has been working in the various companies in the HR positions. And now she's a leadership coach. She guides the people. She uh, talks about the resilience and she tries to guide the younger generation, older generation against this particular problem of the mental wellness. So, Dr. Sapnalaka, the floor is open to you, and we look forward to an interesting and interactive discussion for an hour or so.
Thank you so much, sir. Namaste to all of you. It's such a privilege to have an audience with all of you who are so experienced and wise. I've been on a journey and I'm just sharing some bits which I have worked on with myself. So I'm coming from a space of experience. And probably all of us know what is the right thing. It's all there in our hearts. But to take an hour off and talk about it, it just makes us more aware, reflective. So the idea is that as we have the conversation, let's all reflect on our own lives and behaviors because that's what finally makes an impact onto our lives. So, sir, you could probably take the spotlight off me, and I would actually love to have a discussion rather than me just giving a talk because conversations are so much alive, right? So if I were to just ask you, and feel free to just put it in the chat box or unmute and speak, and I'm good. When we say mental well-being, actually in simple words, what does it mean? There's a new word which has come into our lives. We never grew up with that. So when we say we want to be mentally well, what are we actually saying? Why are we here? Anyone?
I'm Miruna.
Yes.
I say mentally well means we should be very attentive all the
Okay.
time. I
Okay.
feel that.
So
Yeah.
this is a requirement to be mentally well. And then if in case you are attentive, then your conversations are more fruitful. And then finally, what I'm leading is we are all looking for happiness, that at the end of it, we should all be happy, right? That's for all. And one of the reasons, and very beautifully you've pointed out, until and unless we have 100% attention into whatever we are doing, how can we ever be actually happy? So I think the pursuit of human life is only all about happiness, isn't it? We all. But what is happening these days, and that's I just wanted to share this, is that the kind of views that are impinging on our minds from outside these days about what happiness is all about has made us actually a little what should I say, wrongly informed about pursuing happiness. So if you would just look at this and tell me, where do you see there's a problem in the way happiness is being talked of right now? Happiness is when you look fabulous in a group photo. I mean, I've picked up from popular media. Happiness is sister gossip. Happiness is having friends over who can come and you love to eat and have a meal with them. That's what makes me happy. Oh, the latest is happiness is traveling the world. That's become the latest these days. And then happiness is looking at pictures and backends. Now tell me, what is your view? Is this happiness? Would you agree with this? Is this happiness? And what is right or wrong with it? Tell me that. Yes, Ushaji,
is
you were planning to
definitely-
unmute and say something.
Madam, this is definitely happiness, no doubt about it. Having friends at home and sharing some ideas and laughing together. This is definitely happiness, but something when in absence of everything, we should be able to keep ourselves happy.
Very beautifully. So what you have said is that all of these things are dependent on somebody outside of us. So you need a sister to have a gossip with. You need friends who come over to have a meal with you. So there is dependence on something outside of us to actually stay happy. That's one. And the second is all these things have an end to it. You go on a vacation, you've gone on to the vacation, you have a good time, you come back. Now, oh my God, I'm again sitting lonely, sulking. So then it can't be. Because what literature, civilizations everywhere have said, happiness has to be a state which continues to be in our hearts irrespective. And it is not to be confused with pleasure. Pleasure is entirely different from happiness. Happiness is a state of being when I'm okay with the way things are. That's what happiness is all about. So I think the entire concept that we have, the agency that we have given outside of us to be happy is the biggest problem of us of the present day, that we are looking at everything outside of us to make us happy. Let me just share a small story with you. It's a Zen story, but so what happens is there's a village from where for some reasons people are all leaving that village and going and finding some other village to live by. So there is one particular village outside which there's a very wise old man who lives there, and people are going past, and so there's a family which comes and asks him, so this village that you live to, how is this village, is it a nice place to be in? So this wise man says, so where are you coming from, how are the people there? So he says, oh, nasty people, absolutely. My neighbors were the kinds who were always, impinging into my farm and doing things. They were never helpful and various other things. So the wise man tells him, same over here also. People aren't really nice. He says, thank you so much for telling me. I'll go find another place. There's another family, and there are many friends. Another family which comes by and again asks him, so it looks like a nice place. You live here. How long have you lived? He says, I've been here for many years now, 20 years. So how is this village? He says, oh, okay, what was it like in your village? Was it nice? He said, oh, my village was really very nice. People were very nice. Everybody was very helpful. And we had a very nice time. And therefore, I'm very careful that the village that I go to should have the same kind, so that my family is equally happy. So the wise man tells him that, here also people are nice. You can come over. It's a very nice place. And they move in over here. Just reflect about it and tell me why two different answers to two different people.
Because
Was he lying or like?
what we understand is if you are good, everybody is good. If you are bad, everybody is bad. It is a kind of a reciprocation. That's
Okay.
why nice to everybody, everybody is nice to you.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody would absolutely right, Damayanti. What you're saying is absolutely right. So what we always say is that the yatha drishti tatha srishti. The way your drishti is, your srishti, that means your life, your creation also is going to be like this. Now, I don't know whether you would know or not, but I have been working with a lot of Indian texts now in the space of mental well-being, and we found answers to everything which can keep us well in our Indian texts, and the most seminal text in that is the Maharshi Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So the Yoga Sutras, if you know, are okay. So the Yoga Sutras, I'm sure all of you must have heard about it, but as soon as you think yoga, what comes to your mind is doing all the asanas. Now the Yoga Sutras is a book with just 194 small pithy statements, which tells you how to achieve perfect mental well-being. Out of these 194 sutras, only 3 of them are about asana, yogasana. Only 3. The rest 193 all speak about our mind. So what does the Yoga Sutra actually say? The Yoga Sutra says that our mind is actually clouded It's just like the mirror that we are not able to see things clearly. So if you have a mirror which is dirty, if you go and see your face, will you see things clearly? You will not be able to see things clearly. Will you be able to see the world clearly? You will not be able to see the world also clearly. So what is required is that this mind of ours needs to be like really scrubbed and cleaned absolutely, so that we are able to see things just the way they are. And it's not, so in modern language, we say we have an unconditioned mind. So we are actually, so the Yoga Sutra, you must have heard there's one statement which says Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. That means Chit is our mind and Vrittis means all these spots and dirts which are there on it, the modifications, which is making us look at life not in the true sense that it is. So what is yoga? Yoga means this mind out the best that we can, cleaning our mind the best that we can. And the entire Yoga Sutras only talks about how do we scrub this mind clean so that we are able to see things just the way they are, and therefore we are able to respond to life better and properly. Now, the question that you'll have in your mind is 194 sutras. Are we going to do all of them and figure out what to do? So in those 194 sutras, I have picked up one which is the longest. And it is almost like a formula that Maharshi Patanjali has given it to us, a formula which can use in our entire day-to-day life and inform our life with that, so that the screen of our mind becomes clean. We're able to pay attention. Our mind thinks quickly and we are able to respond to life rather than just react to it. So now let me just share what is that, and don't worry about the Sanskrit which comes into it. Doesn't matter because I'm going to decode it for you. So this is the longest sutra which is there. So what does it actually say? It tells you that in life, and I'll just remove these slides. I don't think I need them. We can just talk. It tells you that in life you will meet different kinds of people, isn't it? And most of our life right now is engaging with people. And that is what we struggle the most with. So Maharshi Patanjali says there are two kinds of people that you get in the world. One, there are sukhi people and dukhi people. So you have happy people and you have unhappy people. Everybody that we meet in life, we can categorize them either happy or unhappy. Correct? We can. We can't say anywhere. Nobody is kind of neutral and equanimous. We won't be sitting here talking about it then. So if somebody is either happy or it's unhappy. Now there he gives us the formula. He says that with happy people, you have to practice maitri. Maitri means friendliness. You will say it is so easy to practice friendliness with people who are happy. But you remember, let me just share this with you. You remember the movie Three Idiots? Do you remember the movie? Okay, let me just share one with you and tell me, do you remember this dialogue and what had happened? Do you remember this? Do you remember that these were three friends and all of them weren't very serious in class? So when two of them go to check their results, they see that their name is right at the bottom. And they're looking for the third friend's name and they can't find it anywhere in the bottom. And they're like, oh my God, he seems he's failed. Till they find that that guy has actually topped. So over there was this dialogue which came in, which I think was so good. He says, दोस्त fail हो जाए तो दुख होता है, लेकिन दोस्त first आ जाए तो और ज्यादा दुख होता है. You remember? So it's human tendency is to see that if somebody else is happy, the first thing is like, oh my God, I am not so happy. So if I am not so happy, my mind is quick to rationalize. Oh, well, he is happy, but then you see some things are not working out in his life. So we have rationalized it's okay, right? It's very difficult for us to actually bring down to say, oh, he's happy, or she's happy, he or she deserves to be happy, and it's okay, I will be with this person, spend time and do all of that. On the contrary, you will see that we try to be with people who are not as happy. And then we feel, at least I'm happy. Right? We do that. At least I'm happy. Now, what Maharshi Patanjali says is that, and I'll connect it with how modern neuroscience is talking about it. See, this tendency that we have in us is actually, you remember that mirror that I was talking about is continuously creating more and more and more and more impressions over there because you're thinking wrong things. So the first thing he says is that you need to learn to be happy in other people's happiness. Now, remember when we talk about being happy, there are three things by which we show happy: actions, words, thoughts. Okay? So the neighbor's son has got a brilliant job in McKinsey. Oh, wonderful. How nice. Words, 10%. Thoughts, well, he's privileged. You make up some story in your mind. Unholy thoughts, 20%, 70%. So what? Through words, I'm saying the right thing. Action, I walk up to them and congratulate. But my mind is 70% making up story. Again, Maitri is not getting practiced. So I think it's a very, very, one of the most important things that we have to recognize is, and we should all, when I started this, when I went on this journey, believe me, you feel so horrible about yourself. You think I'm a nice human being. As soon as you start looking at your mind and dissecting it, realize, no, I am not the same that I was thinking I was, because my thoughts are very unclean. My actions are very good. I have been told to behave right. So I behave right. My parents have always told me you should go and congratulate when somebody's done well. I go and do it. But do I have it in my heart? Not really. So I think that it's a very, very important habit that we have to generate in us. And you remember these days, especially whenever we're talking about elders, there's so much talk about neuroscience, which is coming in saying that you have to build new neurocircuits. So therefore, you told we should play Sudoku, we should solve puzzles, because we are going to think in new, different ways. If I keep on thinking in new, different ways, and as Mirunaji had just said, we will be more attentive. So this practice of Maitri is actually leveraging neuroscience to remove the wrong synapses which are there in your brain and create new synapses which are positive. Now, is it easy? It's not easy, but then you still have to practice on doing it. So I will share with you some of the things that I would, oh my God. So let me just, I'll share with you some of the self-talk that I use and see if in case their happiness doesn't reduce mine. In fact, it can grow both of our happiness. You know, some of the things which the human mind is such that as soon as we see somebody else is happy, we start feeling small about ourselves. So can I say that their happiness does not reduce mine? So I remember when I was in school, there was this chapter by Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, a national poet, which the heading of that chapter was called Irsha Tu Na Gai Mere Man Se. I still remember it. And it says that we do not feel as much dukh in our own dukh as we feel in other people's sukh. Isn't it? And it's all there, and we should not feel bad about it, because, you know, this is human tendency. So we are all working towards that tendency to actually discover the divine within us. Now, the second is, I'm glad they're happy. Their success is proof that good things can happen. I don't need to win against anyone. I can grow alongside, and friendship is more rewarding than rivalry. And every time that you have practiced this thing, give yourself a pat on the back that you could practice it. Because I can tell you from my own personal experience, it's very difficult. I still struggle. Obviously, I'm human. I still struggle. And it's a big struggle. So every time that you have changed that, you know that you have actually won a small little battle, and you have taken off one little, you know, that bad dust which is there onto that mirror, some part of it you have actually taken it out. So that is first about Maitri. Now, if those people who are happy, we practice Maitri. What about the people who are sad? What should we do with them? Should we not be friends with them? Because that's what Maharishi Patanjali says. No friendship with people who are sad. So let me give you an example. Say somebody is very sad. You go up and sit and have a conversation with that person. You also become extremely sad along with that person. You think that I'm sympathizing with that person. I'm such a nice human being. Is it helping anyone's cause? Earlier, there was one sad person. Now there are two sad people. So what are you actually doing? When you are at the same level of emotion as someone else, you're practicing Maitri. And remember what I told you, when you're actually practicing Maitri with people who are sad, just check within you. Isn't that real hint of happiness? Thank God I'm not that sad. So what is the option? So Maharishi Patanjali says that you need to practice karuna with them, compassion. Does compassion mean sitting down and listening to somebody's sob story? No, because you will also realize, I'm sure many of you would have people, naturally people gravitate to you to tell their sad stories. And you're like, how long will I sit and listen to this? Sitting and listening to somebody's sad story is again Maitri. Karuna means compassion. Compassion helps to pull people out from their state of misery. So if in case you're creating a safe space for somebody to come and talk to you and, unload themselves, and that helps them get out of that situation, wonderful. That is Karuna. But then we have so many people in the world who just make it a habit to come and, as we say, crib. So we have to be very, very careful to keep our boundaries so that we don't open it up to people for them to come and actually crib with us. Because remember, when they are actually coming and cribbing, I'm listening to them, I'm coming down to their same energy level and actually putting more dust onto that mind that I have, because I'm listening to all of that. And if you think this person cannot be helped, remember, no Maitri. If you can't help, that means you are not able to do Karuna. Get out of that situation. So in order to protect ourselves also, we need to stay away from people, those who are sad and do not want to help themselves. I think that. So when younger people, I tell, especially amongst the generation that we are seeing, the very young people also, there are huge number of girls and boys who just make it a habit to go from one person to another person to tell their stories. And that's why there are so many therapists which are right now sprouting and actually making good business, because what they are doing is they are giving a space for the person to come and just talk about what is not working out in their life. So once they have done, they move on to the other and other and other. So that doesn't help. So therefore, with sad people, we have to do Karuna. So what are the two things we've learned? Maitri and Karuna, right? So now that's about Sukhi and Dukhi people. Then Maharishi Patanjali says that there are people, there are people who are good and there are people who are not good. Right? There are some people who are, they're good people, and there are some people who aren't really good people. So he calls them Punya people and Apunya people. So now technically, if you ask, how do we understand who's Punya and Apunya? So he says those people who follow their duty are ethical, are Punya people, and those people who don't, they are Apunya people. Now this one is also so Punya people means those people who are doing good things. So what the text says is that those people who are good feel good about their goodness. You'll again say, what is wrong? It's so easy. If somebody is good, why won't I feel good about their goodness? That's the usual pushback that I get. How many times has it happened that somebody comes to us and says that, so-and-so has done some very good thing. And we're like, huh? Is it? People aren't good. There must be some selfish thing he must have had, and that's why he's done it. It's so difficult for us to believe that anybody is doing anything which is good for others. Do you agree? I'll give you another small story which Rajneesh used to. So there's a village in which there's one person who lives, and that person nobody respects in the village. And he's so sad that everybody thinks that I'm a duffer, I'm not a good. So he comes to this another wise person and tells him that nobody respects me. I'm like a human being. I deserve respect. Why are people like this? What do I do about it? So he tells him, do one thing. When you go out and when you're engaging with people, no, whatever people are saying, disagree with them and say, no, this is not right. He said, okay. So he says, if somebody is appreciating a painting, tell them what good is this painting? I've seen much better than these. This is, and find two things, criticize. He went and he engaged with the world for the next 1 week like that. He criticized everything. Anybody did anything good, he criticized. Guess what happened? Everybody thought, this guy must be really smart. Because, he doesn't like anything. He must be really smart. So you see, this is the way we are. When somebody does something right, we find it difficult to believe. When somebody is criticizing something, then we are very happily believing. Why do you think all TV companies get so much TRP? Because this is the basic human trait that they are relying on. So I worked for 5 years in Star TV. And I still remember my head of programming would always tell me that, Swapnalekha, we are in the business of eyeballs. Keep your ethic to yourself. And this conversation used to happen when we would talk about why don't we show stories which are positive, in which people are good to one another. Can we have good stories? He says good stories nobody wants to watch. This is the human. I mean, we are so predisposed to actually looking for what is going wrong and saying, see, this is like this. How much time do we spend actually reveling in talking about things which are not good about others? So what Maharishi Patanjali says is that for punya people, those who are good, practice mudita. Mudita means feeling good about their goodness. So now you will say, oh, the world has become such a bad place. Do you mean I believe everybody, whatever people say, I believe them? No. See, anybody who's so wise as Maharishi Patanjali is never going to advise us to be such that we actually believe anybody. But what I'm saying is that if in case somebody is coming and telling you something which is not impacting you, and it is okay for you to believe that person to be doing something good, why do you need to go and research and find out what wrong the other person is doing? Because every time that I am appreciating goodness in some other person, remember there are synapses getting made in the brain like that. Those synapses are the synapses which keep us okay with ourselves. Because one of the things working in mental health, what I've realized is the way we engage with the world, we engage with ourselves also. When I've done something, oh, it's not that good. How harsh are we to ourselves? Because we are harsh with the rest of the world. So whenever there is anything good, celebrate others, celebrate yourself. So Maitri, Karuna, Mudita. Now comes the fourth and the most important, which is Apunya. Apunya means those people who are unethical. How much time in a day do we actually spend sitting and criticizing? Just do a check in yourself. How much time do we spend in the day criticizing? Politicians, journalists, the maid, neighbors, children, I mean, you name it. So what do you think Maharishi Patanjali would advise for those people who are not ethical or apunya? What should we do? Get after them and prove them that they are bad people? So he says, practice upeksha, indifference. But I still remember
Ignore them.
Yeah, indifference. Because hatred is also a relationship. When you hate something, there's a relationship between you and that thing, right? So there's an example also, which is there that if there's a cyclist who's on a road, right? And he's a new cyclist, he's learned how to cycle, he's going on a road, but suddenly you put a milestone over there that you have to reach up till that time, up to that place. Now his attention is only on that milestone. He will for sure, while going towards it, fall once. So when we keep our attention not to things which are wrong about others, we actually fall and become like them. So upeksha means indifference. But as I remember, Tagore wrote a whole essay that how there's so much rasa in ninda that, he's written that we'll take a bus, go, miles away to sit with someone and then sit and, do one nice session of saying that, you know what, and this and that and that. Now, what that does is that it gives us a lot of joy. It gives a lot of joy. But what it is doing it's continuously clouding that mirror that I spoke to you about. So if in case we have to keep that mirror clean, then we need to practice Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha. And one more thing which becomes relevant for all of us is, as we are aging, and one of the things is to disengage with the world, because we are all in what we call our Vanaprasthashram, right? Now, while we are looking at people like this, we have to also remember everybody is not always dukhi. Everybody is always not sukhi. Everybody is not always punya, or the same person can be sukhi, dukhi, punya, apunya. The same person. It can happen within our family. It can happen within our neighbors. It can happen amongst all of you as a group. There are different parts which emerge during a certain interaction. What we need to do is that identify that aspect. Is the person sukhi dukhi, or is the person being punya apunya, and appropriately then respond to that with item maitri, karuna, mudita, and upeksha. So I will just rest for a little while for you to ask me some questions and challenge me if you want to. I would love to throw some situations and tell me how would you respond to. Should I give you one which actually intrigues and bothers me a lot? We have children who are continuously ordering from Zomato, Swiggy, and having food and not having home cooked food. What should you do? Since we've just understood Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha for us. Because remember, our purpose in life is to continuously just keep the screen. I always say that I'm a very selfish person. I will not do anything to cloud my screen. So now if you've this new a formula that we've learned, how would you respond to children endlessly ordering food on Zomato, Swiggy, and not eating at home? How many of you have this problem? Raise your hands if you do.
I think this problem has come up recently, not in older days.
Never it was there.
Most of the parents themselves order food from outside since they have no time to make food at home. Because both working outside, leading very busy lives, and the children always look for, oh yeah, the packet is coming. So, and the mom says, oh, run to the door, it is there for you. So I think the children get used to eating outside food. And earlier, in our childhood, we never had such problem because the food was made at home and we never had any outside food.
But that's what we are all sitting in this session, ma'am, because we are dealing with situations which are new to our lives. We never had it. So I know you are explaining this, why it is like this. My question to you is that if such a thing is happening in your household, and you know that this is something which is not benefiting the health of children, and this is not right what is happening, what are you going to do about it?
We are going to stop ordering food from outside first thing and start making things at home and the taste of the children. The children should like what the parent makes and ask them to, okay, you taste this now. We have been eating food from outside. Now this is something that we are specially made for you. Now you start tasting it. Oh, mom, it's very nice, delicious. Yes, encourage it. And again, start doing again. That's how
Okay.
we can bring
Wonderful,
back.
wonderful. So
Yes. As a grandma, we can make something very delicious and very innovative food, and we can offer them. Then this is better than your McDonald's and KFC and all that. So we can do that.
And there are high chances that all your efforts might be totally rejected. Then what would you do? Is the question.
At least in my case,
Can I ask you one question, please?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
My question is more like a statement. How do you react to a situation that definition of happiness is, number one, to be contented with what all you have. Number two, be independent. And number three, having a positive attitude, feeling good and finding out the best in everything, whatever you come across, rather than looking at the bad points.
Absolutely fine. That's also the first thing, sir, that you said is actually santosh. Santosh means it's a combination of sam and tushta. Tushta means satisfied, and sam means in the right kind of way you are satisfied. That is a component.
And coming back to the question that you asked, how do you make the children eat? You allow them to starve. That's what you asked, right?
No, my question is not my question. So I'll just come back to you. Let me just respond to you, sir, Nandakishore-ji, that what you said is absolutely. Santosh is one of a very important, niyam. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras has yam and niyam. One of them is santosh. You have to practice santosh to be happy. The other thing you spoke about, independence, right? Independence has, sir, in our Shastra, nobody is independent. We are all interdependent. So we have to try to be as independent as is possible. But if interdependent comes in life, we have to accept it and welcome it with all the grace that we have. It is okay to be interdependent also. We should try to be as independent as possible. And the third you said is positive attitude. That is actually what we are talking about right now. That whatever situation life throws at us, what is the attitude which is positive? So now coming to Damayanti ji, now my question to you is that this is the situation at home. Children are not listening to you saying that you should not have outside food, is not good for you. As Miruna ji said, you cooked also. That also doesn't find, because they don't find it as tasty as probably food outside, because we know that what food outside contains inside it. In a situation like that, all of us feel very agitated from inside, but that agitation is not good for our mental well-being. My question to you is that, how will you respond to that?
What
Well, my point in independent was not health-wise dependent on somebody, not
Correct.
the
Yes,
other
sir.
way.
Absolutely. So I'll give you from management an example, sir. We say that, do you have an internal locus of control? Do you have an external locus of control? Internal locus of control means I am responsible for what is happening to me. You're talking about that kind of independence, which is fantastic. But what has been seen is that, say, suppose somebody becomes terminally ill, which is also a way, something happens. When you're terminally ill, you cannot help it. You're not in control. Somebody else is in control. So therefore, I'm saying, I always say that moderation and paradox in life is that somewhere at the center is where right lies. Neither this way nor that way. So I'm very cautious, because I have seen many people, elders on the road, who would refuse to hold hands of youngers because, that, I can walk myself. I will not take a stick, even when you know that. So that sense of independence is more about ego, sir. And I'm not saying we need to be cautious about it. That, is it an expression of ego that I will not take help from anyone else, or is it that I have a responsibility towards myself, that whatever is happening, I'll take care of it? Have I been able to explain, sir?
Thank you.
Yes, Damayanti ji, continue.
I just wanted to say that the mother has to be extremely strong mentally to tell the child, okay, don't eat. And the child will, till the child feels hungry and then starts asking for food.
So often what happens is that, I'm assuming, suppose if you're a mother, you can do that. But if you're a grandmother, you cannot do that, because the agency to treat that child the way it is with the mother. And often what happens, you do not have any control over it. So in that situation, there is this frustration which comes from inside. And I've seen it in many people. And that's why I just brought it forth over here. How do you deal with that frustration? And just for all of you, those who are, how are you actually dealing?
As human beings, we will surely feel hunger.
And okay.
A child feels hungry after a while. He's not eating. And then offer the child different foods. Give him a fruit. Give him something different. And something different again. And start making him eat slowly that whatever you have at home, and get him back to the habit of eating what is made at home.
All of what you are saying is absolutely right. I'm only encountering many situations where somebody would want such an outcome to happen, but it doesn't. And at that time, I see, there's so much of frustration that grandparents carry, because their children are not listening, and therefore their grandchildren's healths are getting affected, and they feel very helpless about it.
One more thing is that the parents and the grandparents, especially the grandparents, are never satisfied with the food. They always feel the grandchildren should eat more and more and more. And the grandparent goes to a doctor, and the doctor tells the grandmother, now make a list of what your child has been eating since morning today. Make a list and give me. She makes such a big list, and there are so many items in it. The doctor says he's eating more than what he should.
So we should probably, sometimes you're right, we should do a session on what we call the problem these days is of mixed parenting. That when you have parents as well as grandparents staying in the same house, how do you approach the situation which is to the benefit of the child? And the child is not, indulged or harmed in any way. Janaki ji, you have something in your mind to say.
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
Nowadays, children like to, eat outside food, So, parents can explain. If they eat the outside food, they don't get healthy food. That they have to give importance for explaining, because if we start explaining about that, children won't listen. They will say, please, ma, don't bore. Boring, they will say. And grandparents cannot open their mouth. Third generation. So parents can explain about the repercussions of the food which they take. So if they explain in a nice manner, children will start following. They will just once in a while, they have to say, parents have to say, once in a while you can have outside food, but daily it will spoil your health. So in that way, slowly, we can make them understand. That's what I'm thinking. Thank you.
No, you're all absolutely right. And this is an yes, somebody was saying, I just want to,
I wanted to share with you. I think you have to develop, first of all, a friendliness with the child so that he's feeling more comfortable with you. Secondly, no change suddenly brought is going to be lasting one. So it has to be a gradual one so that you slowly introduce. Okay, in a day, if you take 4 times something, or at least one time if you start today, whatever time is convenient, probably that may work better because it has to be a lasting solution, not a temporary solution for the thing. Thank you.
Very beautifully said. So let me just contextualize with what we are saying, Kusumji. First thing that you said is that Maitri with the child. So you bring it at the same level so you can have conversations. Then what you expressed is actually Karuna. Karuna means trying to do things to actually help the child. Rather than, so that is Karuna. My question is, if in case all this falls flat, what are you going to do? I'm so amazed at all of you because nobody wants to say that I don't have control. Kuch to main karke hi rahungi. That's the way it should be. This actually, so it is Karuna into action. But I'm glad that all of you are like this. I'm saying if in case there's a situation where you get a pushback and saying that you stay off, we like what we like to eat, don't mess with us. Why do you have to, you eating what you're getting, no? How would you respond to that situation?
Can I just say?
Yes, please.
Join them and have with them.
No.
And also, most important, if you can tell them have protein, like now you can't say protein, have chicken or have paneer or whatever. Change the menu of what they have ordered.
Yeah, great.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I think, children have a tendency of following their parents. What you see your parents doing, no? They have a tendency of doing that. If I stop eating junk food and he sees me eating lots of fruit, he gets into the habit of fruit because he finds it very common. And if he sees me always eating junk food, he finds that is a normal thing to do.
As a parent, that's the right, absolutely right response. Here I was thinking that we are all grandparents here, and many times you do not have as much control. And when we don't have as much control at that time, the frustration sets in because you're all people who would have had professions, responsibilities at home you would have taken on, and I will do it. But all of a sudden comes when the next generation comes, some bit of that agency goes away. When that agency goes away, it's very important for us also to let go. So Vanyaprast, it's very important to also recognize that Vanyaprast ashram means proceeding towards the forest, means by disengaging. What I'm hearing, all of you are extremely engaged, which is wonderful. It's a right, possibly you're coming from the right space, but it's not going to help in our mental well-being if we stay engaged over there. Because you have to know that as grandparent, you have a certain responsibility which is much lesser than the parent's responsibility. So the Karuna part of you has to continuously keep engaging to make it better. But knowing that you're in the Vanaprastha ashram, it's very important for you to also let go. and say, these are not my children. I did the best that I could with my children. So my children are the result of how I engaged with them. Now it is for them to take the next generation ahead and not actually go and, involve yourself over there, because there's only dukkha over there and nothing else. Yes. Any other?
Yeah. Now,
Yes.
can I talk?
Sure.
Yeah. Now, since both the parents are working, so there's no time for mother or father. Nowadays, of course, only I have seen only boys, men or boys, they are working on the kitchen more. They're helping their wife and all that. But when they have no time for this, they give pocket money and they say, "Beta, आज मेरे को time नहीं मिला करने को, आप जाके बाहर से खा लेना." And now that has become a habit. So they like to eat from out. और किसी दिन घर में बनाया तो they don't like, they telling ये अच्छा नहीं है, वो ही अच्छा है, ऐसा. That's what I felt.
Yeah, it is the truth. What you're saying is very true. So as grandparents also, another thing when I always talk to elders is that in the house, like for example, you have the kitchen, right? In the kitchen, try to contribute in things which are, clearing up the kitchen. Don't get into the mainstay of the kitchen, because then again, it's not your thing. It's for the generation which is currently grihastha to do all of that. If you want to help, just help with things which are non-intrusive. Suppose whoever is working in the kitchen, you can say, you can leave the kitchen, I'll clear it up. I'm at home, I will do that. But don't offer to say, I'm going to make the dabba, because all of a sudden, then that becomes a power struggle with the parent and the grandparent. So it's very important for us to actually gauge how much of acceptability is it there. Because if in case they want to do it their way and do it the wrong way, it is still their right to do it the wrong way. And you cannot impede it to that. So that is where letting go is very, very important. Remember that this is the age when we are actually moving as much away, the more peace that we will have. And therefore, loneliness should be looked on as solitude. And solitude is all about reflection. And reflection would be meaning going through these incidences and saying that, given if this was the situation, how should I have actually responded to it? I would someday love to sit and have a conversation with all of you about the entire Karma Siddhant, so that you're able to look at life with that lens and nothing bothers you. Nothing bothers.
One more thing, nowadays they want to stay alone, parents. They don't want grandparents or anybody at home. So children don't learn also some nice good things. And when food making also, now I'll tell you my experience. This time I was in America. Now last 15 days I came back, 4 months. So my son and daughter-in-law, they went for a date. You know? So I was taking care of the baby. Baby means she's 6-7 years old. So she, my daughter-in-law said, "Mom, you put her to sleep." I said, "Okay." She that nanny came. She gave her something to eat. She slept. And then after after she went, my granddaughter went to sleep. I said, "Beta, can I come and sleep with you?" So, because she may get frightened or anything. "No, I know to sleep alone." So, okay. Then I left her. Then I was sitting, waiting for her. Means I was sitting near the living room, so that when my children come, they'll ring the bell, so I can open. But the time, what happened when this small girl, she got up and came, "Fatima, I'm feeling hungry." It was some 10:30. That time with my parents, she has never done that. So I said, "What would you like to eat?" So she said, "I like egg. You make egg." I said, "Beta, I don't do egg. Means I'm a Brahmin, so I don't touch these things." So I said, "I can't do that, Beta. You tell me anything else, I can give you." Then she said, "Okay, chapat." Then I made chapati and I gave her. So nicely she released. When the parents came next day morning, because by the time they came, it was already 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I told them that this is how it happened. Then she said, "Saira, you're not supposed to disturb Fatima that time and all." I said, "It's okay. No, I was happy to." She came and asked me, and child, anytime she can feel angry. That's why I did. Then she said, "Okay, Mom, that's fine." But what I was going to tell you, they don't want parents to stay together. They want to live separate. So this is what happens. Children, they go and have food. If grandparent is at home, they may take care and they will do something from that. That's what I was going to tell you.
What you're saying is absolutely true. And therefore, there's so much of all this mental health has become a crisis because earlier family members only were counselors, right?
Right, right.
You did not need to go anywhere to do that. So since the social structure is breaking down, and it's a huge reason for worry, actually, the way social structures are breaking down. But as they are, we have to try our level best to protect our own health and the social health. What else can one do actually about it? Social mores have actually changed.
Actually, parents, if you allow me, ma'am.
Yes,
What
please.
I find that sometimes what happens in parenting, we can't be so much friendly. Whereas I've seen grandparents really become friend. When grandparents are there, they are very cordial and they become very friendly with like I was very close to my Dadaji. So he was like, he used to call me friend, Bondhu. So I find that relationship is my children probably haven't got.
Nowadays,
I have.
come down. It's not working nowadays.
Yeah, because we are all moving out from our place of stay, no, original place of stay. Now those people who are old enough, they don't find it comfortable. Like you going to America, may not be staying for a longer period. You have to come back again. That continuous stay is lost.
Yeah, I think those are things that we can, keep, because things are changing. We need to
Yeah.
ready ourselves to actually counter the change and deal with it in a manner that it helps us. So grandparents have had one generation of experience of bringing up a child and knowing where they have done right or wrong, right? We all know where all we have done mistakes also we know. So therefore, that experience of rearing one generation leaves the grandparents wiser, and therefore they are more accommodative, tolerant, because they don't have pressures of having a job, putting food on the table.
Right.
They are easier in their head. But I think as grandparents, it's very important. If you are living, how many of you are living with your children? Just raise your hands. How many? I'm just trying to see how many of you are living with your okay. So those of you who are living along with the family, then it's very important to know that the control of the child's destiny is with the parents. You are only in an advisory or anytime that any help is required capacity to do it. You are not the ones responsible for the way your grandchildren. And remember, we find it great to say that in my time I did this, that our realities and our children's realities are
Different.
entirely different.
Different,
You might
yes.
say the whole time they're looking at Facebook, Instagram, or whatever is happening, but the fact of the matter is that the entire world outside us has changed. So we cannot compare with things which happened in the past and telling them that this is the way they should be conducting their life right now. So there's this huge urge in us to actually do that. But that's something that we have to. Yes. Somebody had a question. No questions. Okay. So how is this entire concept of Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha? Do you think you will be able to apply it in your lives and it will benefit you?
There was a point that when somebody is not up to your expectation or whatever, that we should ignore, isn't it, madam?
Expectation.
We should
No.
ignore some people. At
Who are
one
not.
point, the answer was we should ignore. But that ignoring, I personally, I don't think I really agree with ignoring part of it. If a person is suffering or if a person is behaving badly, then I feel that it is our responsibility to some extent. In case you are coming in contact with that person again and again,
So let me, yeah.
you should do a little bit of your contribution to make that person feel better, to make that person feel worthy.
So let me just repeat what I said. I said that whatever you are doing with that person, if it helps the person come out of his misery, then that's karuna, and you should definitely do it. As fellow human beings, we owe it to people to extend karuna. But if in case that person does not want to get out of his spot, and wants to continuously talk about how life has given him a bad and raw deal, then sitting and giving him time is not karuna. That
No,
is
no,
maitri.
we don't need to really, we don't really need to wait and see if there is improvement in him or not. What I feel is whenever we are near that person, whenever we get in contact with that person, closer to that person, we should do our little bit and not wait for some improvement to show up. So that might continuously, that might, ignite some kind of, affection or some kind of a love in him, and he will start responding slowly,
Absolutely. You are still in the space of karuna only, Damayanti ji, when
Yeah.
you're trying to spend time to have somebody become better. But
Mm.
now, point of reflection, I understand where you're coming from. If in case you have a case like that in your life, ask yourself what makes you continuously spend, and just in case of what makes you continuously spend time with that person if there is nothing good coming out of it.
No,
Is
no, no. I would like to interrupt, please. See, you are not, personally, you are not going closer to that person. You have a chance to meet him. For example, you are all part of a group or part of a club, whatever. You're meeting a person regularly. And this kind of a thing, some mental thing is happening to him or to her. And whenever you're close to that person, I feel I should do my little bit, not expecting him to show some result.
Okay, so let me again reiterate. The expression of help for that person, just check, is it feeding your own ego that I am helping that person, or are you doing what is right for the person? If somebody is
No,
struggling with, say,
no,
mental health, let me
definitely it is
complete, let
not.
me complete.
Sorry. Yeah.
Somebody is struggling with, say, mental health,
Yeah.
serious mental health, you have to realize that after a point, you really cannot help. So then karuna at that time means actually talking to the person's family members and helping those family members or helping this person find help with a counselor or
I'm not
somebody that you can talk
I'm
to.
not going up to that level. I'm not going up to that. When he needs hospitalization, when he needs the doctor's help, that's a different issue altogether. But he is going through mental torture due to something. He's extremely unhappy, and his responses are very unhappy.
Okay, so
And
no, possibly we should have a conversation on that on the side. That's exactly what Maharishi Patanjali says, is
yeah.
that somebody who's dukhi, you are not to be friendly with the person. You have to be in a space to say, how can I continuously take him out and not just be with him? Being with him will only bring you down and not help the other person.
Of course, you should be strong enough to see that he doesn't influence you.
Yeah, and we have to all know that spending time with people actually influences us. You don't even know, but it does.
Right.
Okay, so the last point that I just wanted to highlight to you is that all of this talk about neuroplasticity that you're seeing in the world these days that people are talking about, how the way we think can be changed. This entire Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha approach to life is actually continuously helping your mind become cleaner so that you're able to concentrate better, react better, engage with the world better. And for those of you who have, fortunately, none of you were, but there are lots of people who ask for scientific explanation. So Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha also we have enough amount of literature to say that, what are the kind of impact at a neuroscience, brain chemistry level does it have for us to actually stay happier? And the Yoga Sutras call it Chitta Prasad techniques, means what makes the mind happy. These are 4 things which help you keep the mind happy. So I always say that Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha is a 24/7 happiness hack, because the entire time that we are living life, we are continuously engaging with people. And when we're engaging with people, we have to choose our responses. To choose our responses, you can adopt this as a formula which guides you on how to respond to people. Yes.
Just wanted to share with you.
Yes.
I have learned that the science where it ends, where the limit is finishing, there are all these particular things, whatever Vedas or other thing you are referring to, it starts. Because science and all those things don't match with one another. So one has to really go into that particular stage to find happiness, which is lasting one.
Absolutely.
If you would like to have, if you give me your email or other address, I'll send you some particular video. You just have a look at it. Probably it explained in a very nice way, even in a very, for a layman.
I totally
they could
understand.
get it.
So I brought it because, oftentimes when I talk to people, there always is this pushback that how can you claim this is so, that if you do Maitri Karuna Mudita Upeksha, you'll be. So that's to so-called scientific temper of people. I bring in and say that I have my arguments ready to say that if you do this, that this happens, that this happens. So therefore proven. I think that our rishis, they did not have subjects like psychology, physiology. Knowledge was holistic and complete. And if sometimes we have the time, I can explain to you how every thought is like a current. Every current will have electromagnetic wave around it and field around it. So all of us are walking, wires with a field around it. So when we are interacting with each other's field. So I think that what knowledge which is there inside our text is true holistic knowledge. It doesn't look at like how doctors look at, the brain separate, the mind separate, the hand separate, the intestine separate.
Yeah.
Everything is one. So these days, gut is the new brain. Now there have been, I mean, is that new news? We all-
Okay, that's right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So those are the things that I just wanted to share with you. I hope you find it useful.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. for taking out your time and being
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you.
Very, very much. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
जब करना क्योंकि उसको बार-बार फोन आ रहा है तो पैसे नहीं दिए ना